So when this first started, Joe, we did a Saturday episode,
Mm.
early episode. A lot of people came on. A lot of the predictions were there. Orlando, they said, you know what, man, they just not trying to make this a series, but they trying to flip the whole Eastern Conference upside down. Because if they could take out the one seed, then I might just have to steal this one from Tay.
Mm.
Because you go to Orlando for fun, and that's what they did with the two game. I mean, with this last game, and then they stole one in Detroit. So we know what that means. They went to Detroit for none.
Mm.
I'm just saying what Tay said. But right now, it's not looking too good for the Detroit Pistons being the one seed, now down to the Magic 2-1 in this series. And Joe, let me ask you this:
Okay.
will they play this song to upset the Pistons?
Magic, Orlando Magic, Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic.
All right, we having too much fun. We having too much fun, man. I ain't even gonna lie. That's it's a nice little tune, man. I did that one for you, RBO Vaughn. So make sure you tap in.
Okay. Oh, so
what they gonna be? Yeah. Is it gonna be the upset? Is they gonna be playing this?
now look, I picked Detroit to win, and Javon came in the chat. Shout out to him, and he tagged me and AJ, and he said, "I'm finally watching the preview of our series on Unfazed. I can't wait till the next episode and put the eyes." Now I gotta send an apology to the Orlando Magic. I went back and watched it myself, and I was surprised at what I said, Tomo. Came on there and said that Detroit gonna win this easily. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a sweep, maybe 5, but it's gonna be some tough games in there. But I can see a couple of blowouts. I talked about the turmoil Orlando Magic had coming to the series, but I must admit, I said this on the Saturday episode that you take away the two best players, the teams that evenly matched, and then remember Tay was like, they ain't got no Desmond Bain. Remember he said that? He said we got the better team. And I was like, you know what? No, think about it. I actually got a better team. You take away Caden, but I still went with Detroit. But I'm gonna still go with Detroit to win this series. Now, here's the problem with Detroit. I'm gonna read this stat line. 10 from 24. Now look, if I tell you this, Tomo, and somebody did this in the game, right? Somebody backstage.
No. Just quick news because we always quick to drop some news.
Okay.
Here. It's just been announced that Cooper Flag won Rookie of the Year. I know you're gonna like that because I already know.
Not something I was right about. I mean, thank you, Tom, for that. Shout out to Griffey. Shout out to my boy Carl. I tried to tell you. I told you. Shout out to Ice Cube on Friday. But look though, if I told you this, Tombo, all right, in one game, somebody went 10 for 24 from the field, right? 10 for 24 from the field. How many points at? 10 for 24 for the field. 27 points. What would you say?
I would say that team struggled, but it depends on the player too. Like, is it
27 points, 10 for 24 from the field? That's like.
Oh, you said 27. My mic went out. I thought you said 7 points. I'm like, hold on, how did that even happen? But all right.
27 points, right? 7-11 from the free throw line. And what's the name? 10 and 24. But that's what Jaden Durant is doing for the whole series, bro. That's a one game person stat. That's what he's doing for the whole series. I mean, he's shooting what? 41% for the field as a big, averaging 9 points a game. He's missing this whole series. Now, Flag went nuclear after our show, and Con dropped the shout out. Yeah, not facts. All right. But yeah, so the issue with the Detroit Pistons is the help. Now, don't get me wrong, Tobias Harris been doing this thing, right? And let me start over, Tom. Sorry. The first game, Orlando came out hot, and they just kept the lead the whole game. Like, Detroit could not take the lead. Detroit would get close, then Orlando would stretch it back. But the way they started that game, they got in a good space where Detroit couldn't come back. They didn't blow them out, but they kept that difference. And now, shout out to Jalen Suggs for setting that tone. Game 2, it was a back and forth, and then the third quarter, Detroit put them hands on them, and then they just got blown out. Then you go back to this game, it's kind of the same thing. The third quarter comes, and then Orlando starts making a run. Detroit will come back. Orlando make another run, and then on the fourth quarter, Orlando makes another run, and then Cade just made a three, and then he realized, oh, I can shoot again, and he just started going on his own run, and then it became a game, but they couldn't execute at the end of the game. So although Orlando was up 2-1, I still going with Detroit to win the series. Now this might go 7. Most likely it will go 7, but I'm gonna stick with Detroit to win the series.
All right, so you said in 5, right? You picked them in 5.
I say in 5, and it won't be close.
Yeah, I picked. It's funny because it was before Tay got on, and I think you was talking about it backstage. I was gonna go 5, and I said, you know what? Wait, I'm tripping. Orlando does have another player over there that's gonna ball out. I don't know who it's gonna be at that time, but when he step up, it could either be Franz or it could be Bane. But again, Detroit not having the help, I was like, they're gonna steal one more game. So I picked the Pistons in 6 because again, you become the 1 seed. You've been here before. Of course, what did they say about a playoff series? It doesn't really start till the first team steals one. Orlando stole one, and then they went back home. So it's like you got to win that game because if you don't win that first game back home, then they're like, well, technically that was just a fluke, and now we can run it up.
True.
Orlando's coaching with the adjustments also has changed the vision of this series a little bit too. Because like you said, Desmond Bane stepped up, but that last game, Franz out there calling ISOs. You know you feeling good when Franz just like, I'm gonna call an ISO and then I'm gonna just pull. And then if I miss, Paulo might get the ball off a turnover, come down, shoot the 3, and then it just bounces, and then it bounces in and the crowd goes crazy. It's just so many magical things that can happen, right? When you at home, and that's just what it's gonna be. But also, I want to say this to Carl. My bad. You know, when you was on here talking about the Cavs and how the Cavs saying they not scared of Detroit. Technically, they need to be scared of the Raptors, but we'll talk about that another time. I want to say my bad because I was ignoring the fact that Cade actually does need that extra help. Now, when Tay was on here talking about Duncan Robinson going off, I get where he was coming from, but Duncan Robinson not going to step up the same way Desmond Bane has stepped up. You know what I mean? But I also was thinking about just that moment when Cade was out, how all of those players stepped up in the moments. I'm like, they had their good little 3 to 4 weeks, almost to a month, where it's like no Cade. This is what we can do. So when Cade comes back, boom. Now we could just steamroll teams once we get to the playoffs. Paolo is accepting the challenge also, Joe. Remember I said this would be his moment because Cade propelled after he kind of came down a little bit. So now Paolo's stepping up. It's a good series. I'm not mad at it. I'm kind of glad this one happened. I know I wanted to see them in the Hornets, but that's more so because of the offensive side. But this one is more of a challenge for the Pistons, and I think the Hornets would have been. I'm still rolling with the Pistons in 6, but sheesh, man. Sheesh. What did it say right here? The Magic are averaging 115 per game, which is 6.1 more than Detroit usually allows. That right there says there's just something happening. And I think if Detroit turns it back on, they'll get the series back in their hands and they'll be good.
It's crazy because this is probably the best series. This and Atlanta. I think the Atlanta series is pretty good too. Atlanta and New York. I think that series is going kind of back and forth. But hindsight is 2020. That's what they say, right? And when you look at the series, think about Orlando Magic's perspective. They were lined up to play the Celtics, right? And then they lost in the play-in, and then they fell into Detroit's lap. Now think about this. They could have either played New York, Cavs, Boston, or Detroit. If they're going to play one of those 4 people, Detroit is the youngest out of all 4 teams, the least experienced out of all 4 teams, and the least talented out of all 4 teams. Plus, remember, they won 7 games in their first rodeo in the playoffs with the Cavs, who are not scared of the Pistons, who talk down on the Pistons. So Orlando probably looking like, man, we ain't scared of y'all either. And that's how they approach this whole series. You know, like I know the coach mentioned that like they feel like they match up well with them. They're like us, basically. Like they play the same type of style we play. And on the other side with Detroit, like you said, Tomo, this is actually good for Detroit. Detroit, if you are a Detroit fan, I know you probably worry because you might lose a series. But if you're going to lose this series, you weren't going to win a championship. So you weren't going to the finals. So my thing is, if you're going to play the Cavs next, you would rather play Orlando first versus the Hornets. The Hornets not going to prepare you to play the Cavs. But Orlando Magic will definitely prepare you to play the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I think if I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, I'm looking like, yo, if we lose the series, we're just not good enough. But if we win, good, because we can be ready for the Cavaliers. Now, and I'll be more confident. So we'll see what happens. They play tonight.
And also to add to that, I know we want to move on to the next game. To add to that, I think Paolo said that in his post game, right? He was like about not being scared of those guys. Like, we got to see them too. Like, basically, the confidence is there now. Like, they got the confidence to go one more game, then probably go back to Detroit and try to close it out. So again, make the adjustments. We're gonna see what happens. JB, yeah, make some shape.
It's a must win tonight.
Yeah.
Must win.
Man, they don't win this one, man. HOA, man. Oh, I'm here for you, bro. I'm here. But let's move on to the next one, man.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.